It's not fair to have a constant target on your back while you're trying to learn.
Having that large police presence there can be very intimidating. We've seen a lot of times how SROs and just having a large police presence in schools can cause individuals to kind of abuse their power and create situations that can ultimately become very dangerous for students.
We need police-free schools to make a more equitable environment for our Black and brown youth.
We don't need police officers there to brutalize students. What we need is someone to de-escalate situations, but we don't need somebody there to brutalize and tear down students instead of lifting them up.
Especially as like a Black student in public schools, it's a lot of assessing the amount of prejudice the teacher may have towards you, or like whether or not you are a minority within your school system and how that's going to affect your education. And with police being in schools, it's just another force that you have to look at and assess how it's going to affect your education.
Having the children just constantly be monitored with fully armed police officers doesn't sit right with me, especially considering there's no evidence that they actually help with anything, really.
Defunding the police in schools gives millions of dollars towards other funds, other resources, and other systems that benefit students in the long run, like mental health services, safe space, access to more counselors, a more diverse curriculum, and ends the pipeline in general.
Now is the time to liberate the school environment. We are the generation, and I think we're capable of it.
Welcome to another episode of Spectacular Magazine Shorts. I'm your guest host, Iyanii McKinny, in for Phyllis Coley. The Southern Coalition for Social Justice is a project organization founded in Durham, North Carolina. The Youth Justice Project of the Southern Coalition for School of Justice launched a coordination effort to end the school-to-prison pipeline and achieve educational justice in Durham Public Schools. The Liberate to Educate campaign envisions a future in which students of color attend schools that lift them up. Today, I am talking to two students who are involved in the project.
Good evening. My name is Nicholas Brown. I am a junior at Jordan High School. I'm a member of the Southern Coalition for Social Justice, Youth Justice Project, of course. And I am in numerous other organizations and groups that focus on the school-to-prison pipeline and racial justice in Durham.
Okay.
My name is Valerie. I'm a senior at Middle College High School at Durham Tech. And I am also in the Youth Justice Project, Southern Coalition for Social Justice, as well as two other organizations, one for workers' rights and another one for climate change awareness. So yeah, Earth Uprising.
So welcome. Thank you all for joining me tonight. So my very first question, as I was doing some research, I noticed that one of y'all demands were to eliminate the police officers from the schools. And my question is, why is that? Why do you want to, get rid of the police officers at your school?
So I guess I'll start off with kind of how we built our demands first, and then talk specifically about why we want to remove SROs. But we all kind of came together in the beginning and highlighted the different aspects or the different facets of the school-to-prison pipeline that we saw were visible and apparent in DPS. And one of the most visible kind of forms of oppression that we noticed were SROs. And so following that and following our creation of these demands, we kind of dove into the research, dove into kind of the culture behind SROs and having a police presence in schools. And we kind of drew from our own experiences as well. Some of us, had confrontations with SROs, such as myself, and we kind of realized that they are not contributing to the safety of the school environment, and in fact are harming Black and brown students. And so through our research, we found that they are not preventing school shootings. They're not preventing, student-on-student conflict or anything like that. And so I would say after we realized this and after we found the data to support this, we realized that the only solution and the best solution is to abolish the SRO system in DPS for the safety of Black and Brown students, but also for liberating the school environment and creating a space where students feel supported and safe to explore their academic aspirations.
Building off of what Nicholas said, so with police in schools and SROs in our school system, it's important to note that school policing represents a belief that people of color need to be controlled and intimidated within their school environment. And we can see with SROs in our school system, they are really just a catalyst for the school to prison pipeline. Of course, like issues that may call for the involvement of the criminal justice system within our schools, it shouldn't be as integrated within our school environment. There's been like mentionings of SROs just being completely removed off of the campus so far, and even that's better than the resource officers just being in the schools and creating more of a system of like deterring and criminalizing students.
Do you guys personally believe that they purposely go after the Black and Brown students versus the other students? Or have you had any other, personal experiences or things with that nature?
Yeah, I think to say purposefully is not completely accurate in my experiences. I think that they do it because it's ingrained into kind of the system of policing. Obviously in the US, the history of policing is always meant to target Black and Brown communities, Black and Brown people. And so I think you have a lot of school resource officers that don't even realize that that is the culture that they're creating and that's what they're doing. And so obviously there are those that intentionally do it, but I think many simply go along with the motions and go along with kind of the norm of policing. And as a result, Black and Brown students are being targeted. Me personally, I've had negative experiences with SROs. I've been followed to class. I've been, pulled over on a way to a meeting, had my lunch table patrolled, watched my fellow students and my classmates be put in handcuffs and, slammed on a lunch counter. And so I've had many negative experiences with SROs personally. And from those experiences, I found that they kind of the norm and the standard is to target the Black and Brown students. One thing in our school that I found was interesting is that the SROs kind of try to create a relationship with the Black and Brown students. They try to learn our names, try to learn who we are. And kind of from this, you kind of realize the separation and the two spheres of the school that the students of color are working in and then the white students are working in. Because the white students have little to no interactions with the school resource officers. Meanwhile, they're being introduced to our learning environment daily, whether they are approaching us, whether we have a conflict with them or anything like that. And so from my experiences, I found that school resource officers are kind of, it's their norm to target us and to target our communities when we're in school. And so if they purposefully do it, is kind of an individual thing, but I think in general, the institution is designed to target us.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a big institutional and even more systematic problem that continually promotes the prejudice that the Black and Brown students are the ones that need to be controlled. And a lot of the school policing arguments, like for police being in schools, is for prioritizing the protection of the students, but we can clearly see that the students that they want to prioritize the protection of are the white students, or just the students who are not Black and Brown. And sometimes it can even be wanting to protect those students from Black and brown students, which just creates even more disproportionate school environment. I think also, even if, I mean, of course, it would still be a systematic issue with police being in schools, but if everybody was equally targeted by the police officers within the schools, and all of the race of disciplinary complaints were all really high for all of the different demographics of students, that would just make the argument for police in schools even less legitimate, because then we're getting to a point where, okay, there are really just a problem where these students need help and policing is not helping them. I think some of the most valuable things have been really learning to understand others' perspectives, maybe even fallacies they may tend to fall back on, and also learning from other groups that have been doing the same thing and even for longer, as well as talking to politicians. That has been something that has really impacted my outlook on this campaign. And I think one of the best outcomes of this, I think that our group even has been able to put out, is collecting information from other people's experiences, data, learning from school board members, having people come in and talk to us, and really incorporating a lot of different groups so that we can execute these policies and ideas in a way that can be understood by others as well. I think we had a town hall, and I think that was a really amazing moment because we were able to see like some of our target audience members. With the town hall, there were like sheriffs, students, and others. And yeah, I think learning from others and then presenting our work is something that has made me want to keep going.
Yeah, and going off of that, I apologize, I missed.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
I think that from a personal standpoint and kind of what the group has done for me, I think I entered kind of the Youth Justice Project wanting to find an effective way to use my experiences and use my culture and my voice to create change. And I think this group was perfect for that. I think, I came in kind of unsure what we were going to be able to accomplish and the extent to which we could share our voice with others and share our perspectives. But I think from the work that we've done and from the way that we've collaborated with one another, and like Valerie said, the way that we've learned from each other's experiences as well as others, I've been able to really gain a sense of what this work really takes and what liberation really looks like for us. And I think, from talking with politicians and school board members to doing interviews such as this, I think we've gained kind of the skills necessary to continue this work moving forward, and maybe in our personal lives and in our careers, expand to kind of the conversations around racial justice in general, and being able to cultivate change.
Okay, well, wow, I've learned a lot just being on a phone call with you guys, and I am honestly amazed by this project and the impact that this project has had on you all and others in the community. But thank you guys for your time and your energy and your feedback. Like you guys are amazing, and I just want you guys to keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, Nicholas, Valerie, and Brianna, for allowing them to hop on this call with me. Thank you all for joining me today. My name is Iyanii McKinny, and I'm with Spectacular Magazine Shorts. Have a great evening.
Spectacular Magazine. We on the scene.